How we doing today, guys? It's Jesse with the Common Man Corpus Christi, your CBD guy. I'm here with John Wilson. He's running for Mar Regent at large, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself. Mr. Wilson?
Hey, thanks, Jesse. Thanks for having me on the program. Yes, my name's John Wilson. I am running for Mar Board of Regents at large. I'm running as part of a ticket along with Coach Sean Flanagan and Dr. Lori Turner. Flanagan, Turner, Wilson, FTW for the win. I had thought Wilson, Turner, Flanagan was better, but
I said the exact same thing to Sean at the debate on Saturday, and he was like, everybody laughed, but he was like, I think that's a little, we thought that was a little inappropriate.
Yeah, but people will remember it.
Oh, better. Absolutely. Wilson, Turner, Flanagan.
But anyway, FTW
for the win.
But yeah, so the three of us are running for the Del Mar Board of Regents because we didn't know each other 6 months or 9 months ago. And we all came at this from different directions. And the common theme is we were all pretty upset with the direction of Del Mar Community College. Del Mar Community College belongs to the citizens of Corpus Christi. It is our 2-year community college that serves two purposes, there's like two tracks of students that attend it. You've got people pursuing vocational education needs. They're learning job skills that they can go take and get a certification for and go work in industry or in healthcare. And then there are kids who are looking to pursue a 4-year degree. And what Del Mar enables them to do is knock out the first 2 years, get all their prerequisite courses out of the way for a very low cost. And then if they're successful, they can transfer on to a 4-year university like A&M Corpus or UT Austin, A&M College Station, or Sam Houston State, take your pick. But that's basically the two options that are out there. So what happened was, at least in my case, I'm a native Corpus Christian. I was born here and went to University of Texas at Austin, and then spent 35 years in banking, which took me all over the U.S. And I've lived on both coasts in the Midwest, but came back to Corpus in 2017, just in time for Hurricane Harvey. But once I got here, I've still had a lot of family here in this town. And talking to them, and like a lot of people wondering what the hell's going on with our roads here and stuff, you started looking into the issues. And one issue that came up was, in 2018, the 2018 CCISD bond, when they were trying to get approval to move forward with the construction of a new Carroll High School. And I started looking at the numbers with that project, and it didn't make any sense. So the more research I did, I realized that taxpayers are getting ripped off. The current budget for that high school is $313 a square foot. When my research, there was a lot of data available on what the average construction costs of high schools were, and based on that data, the number should have been somewhere between $200 and maybe $250 a square foot. So I started digging deeper and realized, what the common theme that runs not just with CCISD, but with the city of Corpus and Del Mar is the procurement process is broken. And I think it's broken by design because it favors certain companies. They basically, even though there's an open bidding process, the way the bidding formulas work, or the evaluation, they use a weighted matrix that awards points. You get points if you're the low bidder, but ironically, in many cases, you get more points for having done business with that entity previously. So what it does is it perpetuates cronyism. And so in the case of big construction contracts, pretty much favors one company here locally that gets the lion's share of these projects. And in the case of Carroll, when they put it out to bid, they only got one bid for a $130 million project.
That's not suspicious at all.
Yeah. So that became the fundamental issue, and I led the charge against that bond with a gentleman by the name of Michael Miller. This all, of course, what they typically do is wait till the last possible minute to put it to the voters. So they approved it in late August for November election. So there's less than 3 months for opposition to coalesce, and that's by design.
I was going to say, I'm sure that's not intentional at all.
Yeah. So, but despite all that, in our late start, we almost defeated it. Of all the bond issues that were on the ballot in 2018, CCISD's squeaked by with just 51% of the vote.
Wow.
I felt if we had another week, we could have defeated it. So fast forward, Del Mar College is talking about building a new Southside campus. In fact, they put it to the voters in 2016, the year before I came here, and it was approved. But last year, they were actually letting the contracts out, awarding the contracts. And what happened is the bids came in. They had budgeted it at an $87 million construction cost, and the bids all came in between 120 and 122 million, 40% over. So I attended the meeting and spoke to the Board of Regents, asking them to shelve this. You need to rethink what you're doing here, because at those rates, at 120 to 122 million, they were talking about spending $500 a square foot for buildings that shouldn't cost half that. So something didn't smell right. So I was pleading with them, you need to table this and rethink it, rework the numbers, come back with a better. I wasn't telling them not to build it, just go back and rethink what you're doing. And basically the Board of Regents gave a big middle finger to the taxpayers and voted to proceed. Now, they did meet privately with the one construction company, Fulton Construction, that they went through there and knocked some things out of the design and took some things out, shrunk the footprint, and basically brought the projected costs down to 107 million, which is still $20 million over the 87. Well, the bond they have the bond was for 139 million.
Okay.
But there was like a $25 million contingency, which is supposed to cover a lot of things. Well, they pretty well burnt through that contingency to get to the number they wanted. And also, like I said, they shrunk the original plans down, so you're not getting what we originally thought we were going to get. So my experience with that left a pretty bad taste in my mouth. And, after my experience with CCISD, it was apparent to me that the Del Mar Board of Regents was not being good stewards of the taxpayers' money. And then in addition to that, it'll be one thing, or let me put things in perspective. Here in Corpus, we pay 28 cents per $100 of assessed value for our community college. That is the second highest community college tax rate among the top 10 largest cities in the state of Texas. To put it in further perspective, if you look at San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas, they all have great community college systems, and they all tax for that. But their tax rate is less than half that.
Wow.
Theirs is slightly under 14 cents per $100 of assessment. So we here in Corpus are paying double that. We're paying top dollar. And if you look at the performance metrics from students, Del Mar is underperforming by any objective standard you look at. Their graduation rate is 27% below the average for two-year community colleges. So we're paying top dollar and getting subpar results. So, there needs to be major reform done. They need to refocus their priorities, number one, on student success and protecting taxpayers' money. And I don't feel that they've been focused on either of those. They're more concerned with building empires. So that's why I'm running, along with Coach Sean Flanagan and Dr. Lori Turner. We each bring different perspectives to this. Sean's a retired track coach. He coached at UT Austin and A&M Corpus. And, his athletes always outperformed the averages in terms of GPA and graduation rates for the general student populations at those universities. And as Sean likes to say, it's because they made the effort. They provided a lot of academic advising to the student athletes to make sure that they were progressing and that they were, taking the right courses to achieve their goals. With Del Mar, we got a lot of kids that are first-time college students. There's nobody at home to tell them, this is what you should be taking. They need some strong academic advising. So that's one of our goals, should we get elected, is to beef up the academic advising and improve the success rate for our students, combined with all, actually watching out for the taxpayers' money.
Right, not being good stewards of all that kind of stuff.
Because here's the thing, the Southside campus that the 2016 bond funded, $139 million, is just phase one. They have 4 phases planned.
Holy crap.
Yeah, there's 4 phases. This is just 1/4 of the space. Ultimately, there are four phases calls for the construction of about over 1 million square feet of classroom space out there, which is pretty incredible when you consider that their actual physical student enrollment has been in decline for the past 10 years. So they currently, before they put the first brick down on Southside, they already have an excess of classroom capacity. So I do not understand the motivation other than wanting to build something new and shiny on the south side.
Right, just to expand out.
Right, it just makes no sense any way you look at it. So that's what we're hoping to do, is come in there and kind of change the course of the community college, because it affects everybody here. We all pay that tax, whether you're a homeowner or even if you rent. It's part of your rent payment every month. People don't realize it. So it's really important, and it's not a sexy, high-profile election, right? We're going to be buried towards the latter part of a very long ballot in November, or actually next week, early voting commences. So I urge everybody to vote all the way through the ballot. Take your time, do some research, understand who's running and why they're running. But we would definitely appreciate your support for Del Mar Community College. Yeah.
And what's a good way to get a hold of you, Mr. Wilson?
You can read
more questions or anything like that.
Yeah, we have a page within Facebook, Make Del Mar Better. You can post comments there. We will respond. We're pretty prompt about that. Either myself, Coach Flanagan, or Dr. Turner will.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
No